Hello everybody and welcome to another replay analysis. We're going to be going over somebody who's actually already sent one in. It's going to be Axyom over here. Last time sent in a Crystal Maiden game. This Tam looks like he's thinking about transitioning over to a carry. He doesn't really play carry all too often. So he wants some help learning his carry. So I did notice a couple things like his item build and stuff like that. So we'll definitely be going over those things here. And we'll take a look at what he could work on. And if we take a look at the starting items, not that bad. 8 tangos, stout shield, as well as a circlet. Probably gonna be up against what I imagine would be a solo lane timber saw. In which case I think you'd only need probably 4 tangos. Yeah, probably only gonna need 4 tangos. Looks like there were mines on the rune there, but we'll see if he's going to go grab it. Looks like he definitely shouldn't now. Yep. So does see that there is mines on the rune there. Not going to get the bounty, no problem. Should definitely be starting to run back so he can block the creep wave, as it looks like. There we go. Going to block it a little bit here. Not bad. Alright, so it's in an alright position. First thing, as a one position carry, you want your creep wave to be about probably here. Obviously it won't ever be in a straight line, but since I can't really draw on the map, something about here is probably where you want your creep wave. So to do that, you want to be controlling your creep equilibrium, denying your creeps at about half HP, making sure that your creep wave is going to die before theirs is. So it looks like right now that's exactly what's happening, and we'll keep an eye on it. I'm not going to be pointing out anything like, oh, missed, you know, CS or anything like that, just because a lot of people are aware when they miss these things. You know they have to work on their CS, and that's kind of a mechanical thing you'll get better at. You can go into lobbies and try it out a little bit and work off of that, but we'll definitely not point that out, as I'm sure he knows that, oh, when you miss a last hit, you can watch that game yourself and say, oh, I missed a last hit. So nothing that he would need somebody else to go over. I would probably wait to... I usually like to wait to put the point into the blade dance. I think you usually end up going stats anyways, so putting it in stats a little bit early on is fine. Gives you a little bit more base damage, a little bit more HP. But the thing with blade dance is that when you're working on your creep equilibrium, you have to worry about that crit, right? So if you want to just potentially do a little bit of damage to an enemy creep, if you get that blade dance crit, then everything's a little bit tougher. He should probably be really auto-attacking some of the enemy creeps now, because they're going to push into his tower very soon. And he really doesn't want the creep wave to push under his tower, because that means it's going to push back out towards the off lane, right? Because now the creeps are under the tower. They're essentially getting hit by another hero that's just auto-attacking them in the tower. So now this creep wave is absolutely destroyed, and excuse me, it's going to be pushing quite far out there. So going to be a little bit annoying, but looks like maybe, just maybe, might be, should be able to get a kill on this timber saw actually. Looks like he is going to go for the spin here. Looks like he is going to grab the spin build. Not all that bad. I think realistically what you want to do is probably, if you are going to put one into the blade dance, just do a 1-1-1 build. Get an Orb of Venom alongside your Boots of Travel, just because it gives you a lot of harass potential. The slow is really nice. Jugg has some pretty great move speed once he gets just like a brown boot, so I do like that. I think the 1-1-1's probably the best. And then putting it into stats after that, has to be very careful here. And another reason why the 1-1-1 is good is because Healing Ward is a fantastic ability. Percentage-based heal, so it scales really well. It works fairly well in the mid or in the early game. And there you go. So it's going to have that Healing Ward now, and that's going to be nice for him. Going to be able to regen a little bit in lane. Try not to get it taken out by the timber saw, but it was pretty much did its job anyways. Alright, so he's going for his Aquila. Has a strong feeling that's kind of the build he wants to go for. Timber saw definitely wrecks 1v1 melee lanes, so going to be hard for sure. Going to get that Healing Ward used again here, so that's nice. Missing some CS, no big deal. Definitely get better at that in the future. Just have to be aware of the chains damage, and now he is 6, so he can easily get a solo kill. I'll have to be very careful of that. And when it's under the tower like that as well, They do have the option to dive you. I think depending on the Timbersaw's mana, he probably could have killed you there, but no big deal. Gonna at least farm up that small camp while you're going home. That's all right. Not gonna have a TP here. That sucks. Looks like Aquila first. Yeah, I think that's all right, just because you might need the regen with the healing ward here. Looks like there's 3 heroes here now. No idea what's going on. And very close to dying, as it looks like there it is. Probably going to die right now. Maybe the healing ward, actually, though. Looks like it'll be enough, alright? Oh, that's sketchy. Oh my gosh, she lived. Alright, alright, alright. That was nice, actually. That was nice. Super sketchy, though. So stuff going on everywhere. Right now, I'd probably not return bottom because there's already a bunch of heroes there. I'd probably try to go mid, take some of the CS there. But it looks like somebody else beat you to it. You did have enough for a TP to TP somewhere. Probably don't want to be going into the jungle this early because you're giving up a lot in your lanes in terms of lane pressure, stuff like that. Looks like you're CSing fairly well here. Got 4 points into the spin. So I think the way you play Jugg now, you don't really want to go 4 points into the spin, especially if we look at their team here. The Clinks is still going to be able to target you with Searing Arrows. The Ven, sure, she can't stun you. She can still swap you, though, and stun you after that. It looks like the Timbersaw, some of his damage won't go through, but Spin's not going to last that long. He'll still be able to get a lot of his spells off because they are all low cooldown. Witch Doctor, his ult will still go through. Cask, potentially not going to be bouncing and stunning you, but I don't think 4 points in the spin is that great. The damage is alright, like 140 damage. But the thing is that the duration doesn't increase, so it doesn't really give you more magic immunity, which is kind of what I find a lot of people use it for. In this case, I think just putting those other 3 points into stats, or yeah, maybe 1 into the healing ward, 1 into the crit, and 1 into stats, something like that. I think probably 3 points into stats would have definitely been better here. But one of the main goals with the Juggernaut is that his peak power is kind of around probably the 30-35 minute mark-ish. But even before that, he kind of has a little bit of like an Ursa goal where he likes to take a Roshan. You just go Phase Boots Aquila, Mask of Madness. You can get a Yasha if you can afford it, and then just take a Rosh. Once you have 2, even just 1 or 2 points into that healing ward, you have enough to take Roshan. So something I would certainly have kept in mind there. It looks like you get the kill on that Clinks. I'm not sure what he was doing, but pretty solid. You do get the drums. Drums are alright. Aquila drums is like really, really fight heavy. So if you don't fight with these, then probably not going to be all that useful compared to getting a Mask of Madness, where you could have been farming far more effectively here. Just something to keep in mind here. So we've got the drums still. Still kind of just farming. Not doing that bad. Gonna get a kill over there. TP bot. Alright. And if I'm looking at the map right now, so let's take a look at the other creep waves. So mid lane, pushing out in your favor pretty well. These guys are actually gonna... Actually, no, it's gonna be pushing out in their favor. So, if I'm looking at the map right now, I'm seeing, alright, mid lane's gonna be pushing out in their favor. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get this creep wave. I'm gonna move into the jungle, probably take this small camp, this large camp, this medium camp, and by the time you're done, your creep wave, or their creep wave, should be about here. And that's kind of what you should be thinking of as a carry, is using a general farming pattern, looking at where you could be going. You can continue to pressure bot lane, but with the techies in the game, I'd be a little bit afraid. I believe there's only 1 mine here, 1 mine here, but if you stacked up a ton, it's a little bit sketchy. Looks like you are going to turn around, but we'll have to keep an eye on what you do, because you can jungle, but you know, it's not going to be that great. As looks like you're just going to move into the medium camp. You could have just taken the large camp over there, just the closer jungle camps, but it's no big deal. Alright, so you're doing an alright job of farming here. Definitely should have a bit of lifesteal. You bought the drums, you're not really fighting with them. And drums really aren't that great of a stat. Like, they're a pretty good stat item. They give you a little bit of move speed, attack speed, HP, you know, intelligence, all that fun stuff. But I'm not really sure that it's worth it. I'd be pretty aggressive here because you can see that there's like 4 top, 1 bot maybe. So you can certainly be outputting a bit more damage. You've got 3,300 gold right now. And Right now, with that space that you just used, or that you just had, if you had something like Mask of Madness Yasha, you could have had an Aegis, which in my opinion is a better farming tool than a Drums, right? Or a better fighting tool than a Drums, right? So if you've got the Aegis, if you're looking to fight, realistically, Mask of Madness Aegis should probably be the better build in general. Looks like you do go down here. Not sure what you want to buy. You pick up a Dust for the Clinks, I guess. And you're looking at a Deso, a Butterfly first. I guess you're looking for the Mischance. You see that you've got a lot of gold, but not really the item you want to get first. The Mischance is going to be somewhat effective. It's not going to do anything against the techies. The Witch Doctor ulti, the Venge has a little bit of burst damage. It's not, ooh, that was kind of bad. You never want to ult around a creep wave. It's not going to do anything, obviously, against that Timber Saw. So, I don't think Butterfly is the item in this game. I definitely think you needed some lifesteal. Help with a little bit of sustain. Looks like you're barely going to get out there. Nice, nice. And, I mean, you're getting it at a reasonable time, but, like, again, what's it do, really? It doesn't really do all that much for you. Keep an eye on how everything's going here. It does give you some nice stats, that's for sure, but don't think it's that worth it. Alright, so you spend the ultimate. Meh, not that bad. Get a double kill. You'll probably die right here, though. Yeah, the Butterfly didn't really do much there. The reason why people go Mask of Madness is not only for farming, but if you activate Mask of Madness while you're using Omni Slash, you'll actually get an extra right click in. So while you're using Omni Slash, Juggernaut actually has the potential to do a right click to the target as well. And if you've got a Mask of Madness, bumping up your attack speed like that ensures that you get another attack in on, I believe, every target. So you kind of want to get the Mask of Madness, use your ultimate. Make sure you use the mask before your ultimate, then go into it. But Mask of Madness is a pretty solid item. Butterfly didn't really give you too much there. Like I said, you end up dying anyways, so it doesn't really give you all that much in terms of survivability. Perhaps if there was like another carry that based heavily on just pure right clicks, like a Luna instead of a Timber Saw, maybe something like that would be alright, but really, yet again, you die. So the Butterfly hasn't done much for you. I think especially since they grabbed an Orchid, Mask of Madness Yasha into the Manta would have been like a huge damage bonus for you. You could have been easily able to sneak Roshes. They instead get Roshan, which is kind of huge because as a Jugg, you really need Roshan. Looks like there's, or you're in their jungle. This is nice, playing aggressively on their side of the map. Good job. If you do end up getting picked off, you're at least on their side. The creep wave's pushed out, so it's not that big of a deal. You go for a Maelstrom next. Maelstrom's not that bad. Potentially you can get some lightning procs, but they don't really have heroes like a PL or anything like anything with summons that you would need the Maelstrom procs for. It'll help you farm a little bit faster, but again, so would Mask of Madness Yasha into like a Manta or something like that. So, you know, just something to be careful of. Looks like maybe Butterfly would have saved you there, or did save you there. So that seemed like it was nice. As mid lane, it looks like somebody's going down. Bot lane, there's a lot of farm. I would farm the next creep wave, then move into the jungle right away. Get a little bit scared. Probably could have just walked in towards the jungle. Alright, going for Scotty. Scotty would have been what you would grab if you're going for the Mask of Madness Manta into a Scotty, something like that. That's probably the build you would have gone for. So you are going for a Scotty. Probably going to come out a little bit too late here, but we'll see. Not doing too bad. I'd move into their jungle right now. Yeah, I never would feel comfortable pressuring a tower against the techies. You TP out, but you could have been really aggressive there still. There was only one TP in, and it looks like now you're probably going to go down. Unfortunately, that ult was not worth it. Imagine if you would have just stayed in their jungle. You're farming that up. You're effectively increasing your GPM by about, or not your GPM, but you're effectively getting about 600 gold worth of net worth. And then you can move back out into the lane over here, farm these creep camps, farm that lane, farm this lane coming in again. And look at this, they're still not doing anything, right? So if they haven't pushed into your base, or they're not threatening this tower, like, directly, right now they're not up front at the tower, you could have been pushing, not having to worry about TPing back home or anything. You're in an incredibly good position there, right? Like, it's actually pretty huge. This guy's just going to get eaten alive. But now look at this fight. You weren't even there. Didn't even have to be there. Sure, you killed Avenge earlier on, and maybe, you know, she could have helped out or something like that. So maybe they wouldn't have won that fight. But realistically, you could have been top this whole time, gotten about maybe another 1,000 net worth on top of that. So you can see, like, that's a pretty huge mistake, right? And you might be saying, like, oh man, like, you know, I felt like I did everything right that game. I was CSing pretty well. I'm 7-4. You know, like, what the heck. But even a decision like that is what's going to start separating you from, I think you're at like 2.5 or something. I'm sorry if I'm wrong. I've gone through so many of these. I don't really remember what everybody's MMR is, but I think you were like 2.5 or 2.3. But it's going to start separating you from, you know, a mediocre carry to a better carry. Is this decision making on to fight or to farm, or where to be, where to play aggressively, where to farm next. Like, just things like that are pretty important, right? So right now I would probably just go straight to the top lane, because you know it's going to be pushing in super hard. It looks like the Zeus is going to go there instead, draw Rangers close by, and you get a DD. And yeah, definitely move into their jungle with this. There's a Clinks. You don't have the dust. Just going to eat that guy alive. Didn't need to spend the ultimate at all. Now you won't have it for the team fight, which is a little bit unfortunate. They shouldn't have Techie's Mines up there, really. So you guys can definitely pressure this. You get Orchided up, but there's no reason to be all that scared here. And looks like you guys are doing pretty well now. So you get the racks. A lot of it is misplay from them. But there's a couple things we can go over while we're watching this part. I don't know if this is the end of the game, but first thing at the beginning, it looked like you weren't really controlling the creep equilibrium that well. You were taking a lot of harass from that Timber Saw. You did thankfully have a few points into your healing ward, which is great. Did help out a lot. I think some more points into stats. The spin, again, the duration doesn't really increase, so just using it to get away from a gank doesn't really help if you level it up, right? Like, it doesn't really change it at all. So, doing fairly well here. Still just pressuring in their jungle. Gonna use Flutter to move from camp to camp. That's good. A lot of people actually don't do that, surprisingly. But you can see, like, your attack speed isn't actually that great. Even with the items you've got, your attack speed is pretty awful. So you'd probably still be looking for a Mask of Madness or an attack speed accelerator at the very least. As we'll just watch here, see what's going on. There's no wards. I'd be a little bit careful here, as it looks like you're gonna rotate back. Probably didn't need to TP all the way home, but you're gonna be pushing up mid, I guess. So that's not that bad. But you probably could have stayed top. It's pretty difficult to gank you. Like, you had the TP, so the only way you die is if there's a Venge that comes to gank you as well, and then that means that your team has a lot of space, because they're gonna have to gank you with Venge, at least plus like probably a Clinks or something like that. So two of their stronger heroes are gonna have to gank you. Your team should have a lot more space with that you could just tell them to use. But really, if they don't have swap, you just spin TP out, and there's probably no way they kill you, because you've got Scotty, Butterfly. You're like really tough to kill. And looks like, yeah, this game's pretty much over, mostly because they made a lot of mistakes. More mistakes than you guys did, it seems. But you didn't do all that bad. Like, you farmed aggressively sometimes. I would be like a little bit more aware of farming patterns. Like, the way you kind of farmed was, you would like farm top, and then you would just like TP mid or something like that, instead of like, you know, farming a couple creep camps here and then rotating here to the mid lane to find the creep wave or something. So being a little bit more aware of farming patterns, working on your creep equilibrium, really recognizing what Jugg is good at. It seems like your build was a little bit weird. Just open the guides, go find Tortellini. The dude's made like super standard guides for everybody. And it'll tell you what you should be building and how you should be building it and stuff like that. So don't be afraid to use guides. I know some people think like, oh, I'm a bad player if I have to use a guide or whatever, but try to find Tortellini's guides specifically. His are probably the best, I would say. There's a reason why so many people use them, is because they're the most standard, they're the best, the most updated, stuff like that. So find those guides. But really, a thing that Jugg accelerates at here, is that he can take a Roshan and he can look to push off of that Aegis. He's got some nice regen with the whole team, so you really want to go take Roche solo, probably smoke up, walk in with like Mask of Madness, Yasha, Aquila, Phase Boots, and your Healing Ward. You could pretty much solo smoke in, just walk in, kill Roche. May take a little bit longer than if your team was there, but after that, just tell your team, guys, I've got Aegis, let's group up, because you have a Healing Ward. As long as the Healing Ward doesn't die, or as long as you can keep the Healing Ward up or keep the regen up, Jugg's really good at sustained fights, right? So the longer the fight goes on, the more work the Healing Ward does, and you know, the easier it is to siege as well because you've got a Healing Ward. So if you just take one fight, you can continue on again because the Healing Ward's on a fairly low cooldown, stuff like that. So you want to recognize what Jugg's good at. He's good at some solo pickoffs as well, which you did manage to get. You ulted around a creep wave a couple times, which usually is not worth it. The build was a little bit odd. The straight butterfly into Scotty doesn't really give you all that much, aside from some raw stats, but you had to use your Healing Ward a lot in order to keep up with everything, and that cost quite a bit of mana. So there could have been times where you got caught out without your ultimate. You didn't, fortunately enough, but it certainly could happen in future games as well. So if you just had like some type of lifesteal earlier on, Mask of Madness again most likely is what you'd go for. It just means that you've got a lot more sustain. So hopefully I helped you out a little bit here. I honestly have trouble like going over 2 to 3K games because I don't really know what I should be talking about, because there's actually so much and I don't want to overwhelm people. Like sometimes I think even when I talk about farming patterns, it's a little bit overwhelming. I guess instead I could have talked about how to probably play a little bit safer in the lane. But against the Timbersaw, it's kind of hard because it means you can't really CS all that much. And Jugg's a pretty early game centric hero, so I think you probably needed the CS. So I'll probably have to work on that. So hopefully it did help out at least a little bit. I'm still kind of figuring out what I want to do in terms of what I want to tell people around 2 to 3K of how to get better. I'm more comfortable around 4 to 5K because I think after that point you have your general mechanics down, and I can really point out how to get better just from decision making, stuff like that. But I probably talked a little bit too long. Thanks again for sending in the replay, Axyom. I think the CM one was definitely better than this one, but hopefully it did help at least a little bit, and everybody else will be looking forward to my other replays. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to check out some of my other videos. I have my series from lane to lane where I just cast some everyday pubs that you guys send me. I also do some more professional pubs like games from Koikva, Miracle, whoever I can get my hands on from Dota Buff. I have a learning series as well, so feel free to check that out. There's some more info in the description as well as some videos linked in the annotations at the end here. Thanks a lot.